the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Welcome back, everybody, for a bit more SPTV, where remember, every day is a great day not to be in a cult. The second judge has stepped down. Actually, that's not true. The first judge didn't step down. The first judge was the victim of a preemptory challenge. But in Leah Remini's lawsuit against Scientology, the second judge that's been assigned to the case has recused herself due to the fact that her husband represents Scientology. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me show this to you guys. So, Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, Leah Remini versus Scientology, Church of Scientology International, the Honorable Barbara M. Shepper. Nature of the proceedings, court order regarding recusal, Remini versus Church of Scientology International. By the way, thank you to the viewer who emailed me and letting me know that it is always pronounced versus, even if it's not obvious. So I'm going to do my best to abide by the correct language. Okay, Remini versus Church of Scientology International, Inc. This matter was assigned to this court on August 11th. So yeah, that's just 1 week ago. The court now recuses itself pursuant to CCP section 170.1A5 and 170.1A6A. I don't know. That's probably A3, right? A copy of this minute order is sent to Department 1 for reassignment by the judicial assistant this date. Counsel will be given notice of the reassignment. Okay, so that's probably just standard boilerplate stuff. Okay, so remember we have Barbara M. Shepper. So what we have here is Barbara M. Shepper is married to one David C. Shepper of Winston and Strawn. And it is not just that David Shepper happens to work for a firm that happens to represent Scientology in some unrelated matter. It is, in fact, David Shepper himself who represents Scientology. Check out this article from April 2022. Church of Scientology loses dispute with former member. This article here is about the civil lawsuit that Danny Masterson's victims have going against David Miscavige and the Church of Scientology for the stalking and the harassment and intimidation that they have been subjected to by Scientology since coming forward in the Danny Masterson matter. And I'm going to scroll all the way down here to this paragraph. The Church of Scientology International and the Church of Scientology Celebrity Center International is represented by William H. Foreman, David C. Shepper, and Margaret E. Dayton of Winston and Strawn. What are the chances of that? I mean, good on the judge for accusing herself. I mean, that's what you expect, right? I know a lot of these attorneys they're just in it for the paycheck. They're just in it for the client. They don't particularly care about Scientology one way or the other. Just because David C. Shepper represents Scientology does not mean that Barbara Shepper gives a damn about Scientology or wants to see them victorious in anything. It's just a job. Do you guys agree with me on that? Like, I know it's hard to come to terms with this sometimes, but you know, when it comes to representing Scientology in various professional fields, like it is just a job, right? Like if you're Scientology's tax attorney. Now I know they're tax exempt, so you know, but I promise you they do have a tax attorney. Like, is it disreputable in the industry to represent Scientology in a professional sense? Like this is relevant to issues pertaining to Clearwater, by the way. Like in Clearwater, Florida, the mayor of Clearwater is Brian Ongst. Brian Ongst's son, Brian Ongst Jr., is a real estate attorney, land use attorney, who represents Scientology and wealthy Scientologists. And so the mayor's son is one of the people helping Scientology take over Clearwater. And I'm pretty hard on Brian Ongst Jr. for his involvement in that because I take things in Clearwater a little bit personally. But there are plenty of people out there, including Brian Ongst Jr. himself, who will say, it's just a job. If I wasn't the one doing this, somebody else would be doing it. Like it's not like it's going to get done or not done based on whether I represent them. I got to tell you, I don't buy arguments like that when it relates to things like Clearwater, Florida. But I do feel a little more charitable on things like a judge who has a husband that represents Scientology in a civil matter. I don't know. Are you guys more charitable when it comes to representing just civil matters? You know, someone's got to represent them, right? Let me see. I want to go back to this thing for a little bit so we can talk about what he's representing them regarding. Okay, so we won't spend too much time on this, but let's just take a look at it. On January 2022, a California appeals court overturned an order that would have required former members of the Church of Scientology to arbitrate their claims against the church. Three of the four former members left the church willingly, while the fourth was told they could no longer participate. They claimed stalking and harassment by the church after their departure. When people become members of Scientology, they are required to sign an agreement. That agreement contained a clause that requires departing members to resolve any dispute they have with Scientology in arbitration. The three-justice appellate panel ruled that holding former members to the arbitration clause in the agreement they signed when joining the church would bind members irrevocably to a faith they have the constitutional right to leave. The panel agreed that the same was true for the women who did not leave the church voluntarily. This is fascinating stuff. All right. Well, as I started reading this, I totally changed my mind. I do not feel charitable at all towards attorneys who willingly represent Scientology, no matter how much money they're being paid. When that representation and winning these cases, or, you know, if a win is the outcome, allows Scientology to continue to abuse its members. I think it's always good to compare Scientology to organized crime because Scientology acts just like an organized crime family. It acts just like the mob, just like the mafia. Could attorneys representing the mafia really fall back on the claim, it's just a job, it's just a paycheck? I mean, if I wasn't doing it, someone else would be. Again, it kind of gets into the conversation about everyone in our justice system is entitled to a defense, and the defense, and which of course I completely support, obviously. And I've been told by attorneys, you know, that there's nothing disreputable in the world of being a defense attorney. There's nothing disreputable about representing the most heinous and disreputable clients. Now, maybe that's a decision that you make when you get into the field of being a defense attorney in general. Man, this is a really tough one for me to wrap my head around, like, because obviously everyone deserves to be represented by a competent defense attorney. Just because someone's facing charges does not mean they're guilty. And yet it's really hard for me to come to terms with the fact that an attorney would have no qualms representing a client as disreputable as the Church of Scientology, a client that is responsible for the largest infiltration of the United States government ever. Just Google Operation Snow White and you'll read all about that. A client that is known to destroy families and force its members to terminate pregnancies against their will. I really don't know what to think about that. But I certainly don't hold it against the judge. I mean, I will at least say that, you know. Yeah. Let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to say about this? We covered that. We covered that. We covered that. I guess the last thing that I will say is realize. So Leah Remini, as the plaintiff, has already used her, I think, to get one preemptory challenge for the judge. They've used their preemptory challenge. They got on the first judge. That first judge was William H. Fahey. It seemed that he had a bit of a reputation for throwing out cases that make police look bad. And although the police are not involved in this Leah Remini's lawsuit against Scientology, part of everything that Leah has experienced over all of these years includes the fact that Scientology has, by all indications, corrupted the Hollywood division of the LAPD. And there was a possibility that Judge William Fahey would not perhaps be super cooperative with a plaintiff who has been an extremely vocal critic of the Hollywood division of the LAPD. So they made their peremptory challenge. They got Barbara Shepard. Barbara Shepard's now stepped down. My point here is that the defendants, is that the right word in a civil lawsuit? Let's just say that it is. The defendants have not yet used their peremptory challenge. So whoever the next judge is assigned to this case, I have said guaranteed Scientology will challenge whatever judge just as a delay tactic, because they'll delay for no reason whatsoever, even if it's doesn't really accomplish anything. Someone else a little more knowledgeable about these affairs than I am pointed out, if Scientology ends up with a judge assigned to this case, and there's something in the judge's history or the judge's connections or anything that might indicate that judge could have a bias against Scientology, it might actually be in Scientology's best interests to not challenge and to sit on that and to keep that in their back pocket to play that card later on when they really need to and act like they just discovered it, right? And I thought, I see. Yeah, that could make some sense. So, all right, that's really all I have to say on this for right now. Let's take a look at some of the super chats, and then we'll call it a wrap on this video. I got so many videos to do today, guys. It's amazing. Arnie Van Halen says they smell like Osa. Poo. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Arnie. Jamie Dodger. Something fishy is going on here, in my opinion. Damn. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Although the judge stepped down pretty damn quickly, right? So not really that fishy, right? I mean, you got to give her props. And that's kind of what I mean when I'm saying, like, I might not have a good opinion of attorneys who choose to represent Scientology, but I don't necessarily think it means that they like Scientology or want to see them, victorious in all matters. And certainly their spouses. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. If I'm in Judge Barbara Shepard's shoes, and I hear that my husband is representing an organization as disgusting as the Church of Scientology, I'm telling my husband, no, you're not. But that's why I'm trying to be fair about it. Even though if I was in those shoes, I would definitely be behaving differently. But what do I know, guys? I grew up in a cult. All right, Betsy Crutcher. Why did it take Judge until now to recuse herself? Betsy, it's only been 7 days, and there has not been any hearings or any conferences in this case whatsoever. The judge was literally assigned 7 days ago, and she recused herself yesterday. So it was actually pretty quick. Thank you for the question. Hannah Kane. Thank you, Hannah. Rural SD lawyer. While criminal defendants have a constitutional right to a lawyer, there is not the same right within civil cases. Oh, very interesting. Most lawyers check their conscience before taking on clients in a civil case. Well, that's really good to know. Thank you for that, Roll SD lawyer. I appreciate that. Jamie Dodger, get Judge Judy on the case. Yes. I mean, this whole thing should just be taken care of in 15, 20 minutes flat in a Judge Judy show. Oh, my God. I could just see a really funny series of like YouTube sketches of Scientology cases being litigated in the People's Court or Judge Judy's court, or aren't there like 5 different shows out there similar to the Judge Judy show? Oh my God, that could be really funny. All right, let's see. Abigail S. says, Aaron, I was just watching a video that was on my homepage by the Behavior Panel. Do you know them? If this trial is televised, I would love for you to collaborate with them during it. Abigail, thank you for that. I have received so many messages about the Behavior Panel, and I believe I have clicked on some of their videos before to see what the deal was and how the whole thing was done and the flavor of it. I don't think I've ever watched an entire thing. But I'd love to collaborate with any of the members of the LawTube community who, I mean, obviously they don't, they're the experts on the law, but it would be fun to chat with them if they had any questions about the Scientology aspect. I mean, hell, one of the lawyers who's pretty prominent in the LawTube community is, oh my God, I don't want to get his name wrong, but I want to say Peter Stragos. I'm going to be so embarrassed if that's wrong, but he's on YouTube as The Lawyer You Know. And actually he was featured on Megyn Kelly's segment about Leah Remini's lawsuit. I think it's Peter Tragos. He was featured on there. And he practices right here in Clearwater. I mean, his office is 3 minutes from me. I drive by it all the time. And it would just be really fun to do some sort of collaboration on that. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen sometime. All right, let's see. A big guy from Florida. Hey, nice. From one big guy from Florida to another. Thank you for that. And Obi O'Brien, money is why the lawyer works for the disgusting. Yes, indeed. There's certainly, I certainly don't believe there's an attorney out there who in his soul, in his heart of hearts, is just really hoping the Church of Scientology emerges victorious in all of its affairs. I mean, hell, I guess you could even have a lawyer. I don't know. This is going pretty far out there on a limb, but could you even have a lawyer who wasn't a fan of Scientology taking on some casework for them to like intentionally do a substandard job? I mean, that seems a little too crazy to even consider, but I don't know. Who knows? The world's a crazy place. The one true Morbs. Thank you for that, you guys. All right, let's call it a wrap on this one. That's all I have to say on this. So much more to come, guys. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right